between nomadic and pastoral people about land such as have been fought on the continent of Africa and elsewhere for centuries before. The real reason Bush and Blair are interested in regime change in Khartoum is because Sudan has discovered the biggest oil field the world has ever seen, bigger than Saudi Arabia and Iraq together. And even worse from Bush's point of view, they've already sold it to the People's Republic of China. For the next 25 years, every drop of this oil, which is not even out of the ground yet, has already been sold to China, which of course is America's silent but overarching foreign policy preoccupation. They're not dreaming in their beds at night about Darfur. They're dreaming in their beds at night about China. They said this would be the new American century. Any fool knoweth it's going to be the Chinese century. By the end of this century, China will be a mighty superpower. And they want to slow that process up. And they want to slow it up by choking off the energy supplies to China. That's why they are so mad keen on gathering up every piece of energy anywhere in the world, even including invading and occupying countries. So Sudan has a problem in Darfur. Sudan has to solve it. It's serious enough that the African Union and its neighbors should be involved in the solution. But the last thing that Sudan needs is an invasion by George Bush and Tony Blair.
We'll take another round of questions. The gentleman at the back.
My name is Ismail Kastunji, and my question is, we've seen a series of problems, especially in Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine and Lebanon. Now, what is your opinion concerning Iran? Like you've explained to George Bush what's going to happen in Iraq, I would like to know from a political aspect, what do you think is the position in Iraq and what will happen to the Iranians?
Thank you. The next question is down here.
Good evening, my name is Samson Kale. I just want to tell you about a statement that was made by Ayub Dilat, that Christians hate Islam. I don't know where he got that from. We are born in South Africa and we live side by side with Muslims. We school together and we loved each other, we respected each other, and I'm sure every Muslim here, every Muslim here, I never had any problem with Muslims here in South Africa. As a Christian, Ayub went to Potchefstroom, he had a meeting there, and then he said that Christians hate Islam. And the relationship in Potchefstroom between non-Muslims and Muslims is very good. Hindus, Christians and Muslims, very good. We schooled in the same school. And thank you very much. Muslims, I assure you that we love you. You're a beautiful people. And we live side by side with you. There is no problem, and there will never be any problem with us. Thank you very much.
Can you have the mic down here?
Good evening and assalamu alaikum. My name is Rafiq Mohammed. I'm with the Alternate News Network. I have a question here, but before I pose the question, I'd like to just thank Mr. Galloway for taking his time and trouble to come out here and share his courage and his experiences with us. Published a report here by Al Jazeera that was in London on the 5th of September 2006. And the heading is, Israeli Mossad murdered 530 Iraqi scientists. And apparently on the 23rd and 24th of April 2006, there was an international conference held in Madrid where Dr. Jalili actually presented this whole report about the Iraqi scientists being massacred. The figure that they've been banding is 530, and they actually, I haven't got it in this publication, but on my laptop I've got the graphs where the analysis is made of how many different academics, PhDs, professors, engineers, doctors, etc. all those figures are analyzed, put in a graph form, in which universities they were from, all these figures were shown and how they were killed over the last 3-4 years, and apparently these figures are on the increase. I'd like to ask Mr. Galloway if he's aware of this report, and if he is, to what extent it is true, and is there anything that we can do to assist in this regard? Thank you.
Well, there is widespread massacre of Iraqi intellectuals, teachers, doctors, professionals of all kinds, which is why almost all of them have now left the country, those that have not already been killed. And there is now a chronic shortage of every kind of professional in Iraq as a result of the barbarism into which the country has descended. There's now more than 1 million Iraqis living in Amman. There's now nearly 2 million Iraqis living in Damascus. Iraqis are popping up everywhere. Everywhere I go, people come up to me in the street because they recognize me from the last few years and tell me that they're now living. I met some recently in Vienna, in Austria. They're everywhere. And that's, of course, part of the plan. Those who wish to destroy Iraq wanted to destroy Iraq, not because of human rights or lack of democracy. That would be absurd, because across the border in Saudi Arabia, the unfreest country on the earth, the Western powers are arming the tyrants to the teeth to crush liberty and democracy. They invaded Iraq because Iraq was too big for its boots. Iraq had the potential of being a strong, rich Arab country, and it had to be broken. And they have broken it into 100 pieces. They don't know what the consequences of that will be, and many of them are beginning to fear the consequences of it. And nobody knows the consequences of it. But we could very well have a Yugoslav-style, a much worse than Yugoslav-style civil war on top of one of the world's biggest oil fields. If it happens, it will ineluctably draw in the people from the countries around Iraq on one side or the other, and then you can forget about oil. Never mind $63 a barrel, you won't be able to buy oil at any price, because the entire oil fields of the Gulf will be on fire. And of course the consequences were entirely predictable by anyone who knew anything about the area, but they apparently were missed by Mr. Bush and Mr. Blair. That's why, for example, you have Britain and America threatening Iran when they've already made Iran the top dog in Iraq. And if anybody attacks Iran, Iran will answer, first of all, in Iraq, and in the south of Iraq in particular, where there are 7,000 British soldiers, the thinnest red line, surrounded by 10 million Shiite Muslims, many of them loyal to Iran. If anyone lifts a finger against Iran, the British soldiers will be massacred. It will be like Rorke's Drift in the film Zulu, but without, for the British at least, the happy ending. To be a massacre. And these consequences, which appear not to have even been contemplated by the invaders, are multiplying now all the time. I forgot to answer a question that was asked earlier, and I will come to it, that of British Muslims, but I want to say something about Iran, if I may. The idea that some countries are allowed to have nuclear weapons and other countries are not is inherently a racist idea. They keep criticizing Ahmadinejad for saying he would wipe Israel off the map. But that ignores 2 or 3 realities. First, Iran does not have the means to wipe Israel off the map. Second, Israel does have the means to wipe Iran off the map. We know that thanks to the brave Jewish whistleblower Mordechai Vanunu, who spent 18 years in solitary confinement, for telling us that Israel has hundreds of nuclear weapons and the missiles to deliver them. And third, the only country that has been wiped off the map is not Israel, but Palestine, by Israel. So We have to be on our guard about Iran. If not for the Iraqi resistance, if not for the anti-war movement around the world, the Americans would already be in Tehran and in Damascus. But they've been stopped dead in their tracks and are not able at this time